What you get from becoming a member in Digital Privacy Forum? Like you get an opportunity to network with professionals around the world. You get to know the most recent open source tools used in the domain. You can develop the skills in cybersecurity. Like we also provide you guides which help you to get the top certifications in this domain. And you get opportunities to participate in freelance projects and also get business opportunities to showcase your product or the service in this field. So the whole aim of Digital Privacy Forum is to connect together, to share knowledge, and to create business opportunity and to grow as one big team of cybersecurity professionals. So if you are a student, a cybersecurity professional, a trainer in this field, or even a business executive, you'll definitely find something that is really valuable in the Digital Privacy Forum. So you can join us by going to digitalprivacyforum.com, and also you will receive an email once the program, once this webinar is over. So without much to do, I'll introduce the speaker of the third week on the topic how to protect IoT infrastructure. And the speaker's name is Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim. He's a senior cybersecurity consultant who has been in this field for over 20 years with experience in networking, firewall, cybersecurity, visualization, and the cloud. He has some of the industry leading IT certifications in CCIE, CISM, VCIX, NV, NSC, and ITIL. He has implemented various networking and cybersecurity solutions for customers across the Middle East and the Kuwait region for more than 15 years. He is on a mission to develop about 1 million cybersecurity professionals through his IBI cybersecurity mentorship program. For more than a decade, he has been coaching students across the globe from basic to expert level in networking, cybersecurity, and the cloud fabric. Some of them are working in red team, blue team, SOC, and as a cybersecurity analyst, specialist, experts, and even some are CISOs. And he is one of the core team members of the Digital Privacy Forum. So without spending much time, I'll hand over the session to Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim to continue with this topic of how to protect IoT infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Kaja, for introducing me, and I welcome all of you once again this wonderful webinar where we'll be sharing about IoT infrastructure and how we can protect. Before we get into the webinar, I would like to quickly ask, maybe you can type in the chat box, how many of you know about basic of IoT? And we can say yes, no. Yeah. How many of you know about IoT? I can see only a couple of people are raising. Have you any one of you have you done any projects in IoT? Projects? Have you involved in any projects, IoT projects? Great. So I just want to understand the audience so that we can keep the presentation more relevant to you. Okay, so let me begin this presentation with a small video just to introduce what is IoT, then we'll get into that. Okay. Oh my.
While leaving your house. Instead of traveling all the way back home, what if you could use your smartphone to know the status of your AC? And perhaps even turn it off? Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, yes. And this can be achieved with the help of the Internet of Things. Until recently, access to the Internet was limited via devices like the desktop, tablet, or smartphone. But now, with IoT, practically all appliances can be connected to the Internet and monitored remotely. IoT is shaping the way we live our lives. It helps us get a better insight into the working of things around us. So, what exactly is the Internet of Things? IoT is a system of interrelated devices connected to the Internet to transfer and receive data from one to the other. A smart home is the best example of IoT. Home appliances like the AC, doorbell, detectors, water heaters, and security alarms can be shared data with the user over a mobile application. The user can now get detailed insight into the working of the devices around him. Think about it. Until recently, the internet helped people connect and interact with each other. But now, inanimate objects or things have the ability to sense the surroundings, to interact and collaborate with one another. For example, in the morning when your alarm goes off, the IoT system can open the window blinds, turn on the coffee pot for you, and even turn on the water heater. Although all of this is fascinating, there's a lot that goes on in the background to ensure seamless functioning. From effective communication between devices to accurate processing of the data received, a lot of components are involved. In the context of IoT devices, hardware can be classified into general devices and sensing devices. The general devices are the main components of the data hub and information exchange. They are connected either by wired or wireless interfaces. Home appliances are a classic example of such devices. The sensing devices, on the other hand, include sensors and actuators. They measure the temperature, humidity, light intensity, and other parameters. These IoT devices are connected to the network with the help of gateways. These gateways, or processing nodes, process the information collected from the sensors and transfer it to the cloud. The cloud acts as both the storage and processing unit. Actions are performed on the collected data for further learning and inferences. Wired and wireless interfaces like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, GSMs, and so on are used to provide connectivity. To ensure its ubiquity, applications need to support a diverse set of devices and communication protocols, from tiny sensors capable of sensing and reporting the desired factor utilized for data analysis and knowledge extraction. To help you understand its working, let's take a simple scenario. Let's suppose you want to water your garden every time the moisture level in the soil drops. Instead of doing it manually, you could automate it using IoT. The sensors and actuators installed gauge the soil for its moisture. This information is sent to the IoT gateway with the help of communication protocols like MQTT or HTTP. The gateway significantly aggregates data and feeds it to the cloud with the help of Wi-Fi LAN. Once the moisture level drops, the system is immediately triggered and the sprinklers are turned on. However, with the information stored in the cloud, a detailed analysis like the time of the day the sprinkler was turned on, the rate at which the moisture in the soil reduces, and so on, can be done, and the report could be sent over to you on your smartphone over an app. With the improved response, monitoring, and analytical capabilities, IoT is being adopted in almost all industries and domains, opening doors to endless applications. Today, IoT is being used extensively to lessen the burden on humans. To name a few, IoT is deployed for smart homes, wearables, watches and bracelets, smart cars, smart farming, smart retail, smart grids, smart city, and smart healthcare. With such a wide spectrum of applications, the future of IT looks more promising than ever before. In 2018, there were about 23 billion connected devices, which was more than double the world population. According to experts, there will be over 80 billion devices by 2025. IoT is a vision to connect all devices with the power of the internet. Always learning and always growing. Now that you have a picture of what IoT is, here's a simple question for you. Which of the following technologies is...
Thank you for watching this video. I just introduced this video to make things easy for you to understand before we get into the session. Let us begin today's session. Get the presentation now. Is the okay. I hope the audio and screen is visible. Audio is clear for all of you. Just give a thumbs up so that we can start it. We'll share that in the group, sure. Right. Okay. Let me just once again welcome all of you for this Digital Privacy Forum initiative, where we are trying to connect cybersecurity experts so that we can transfer the knowledge and connect people around the globe. And also the objective of the forum to guide end-to-end security and privacy. So myself, as already introduced by Kaja, I've been in cybersecurity for the last 20+ years. I've been handling a lot of projects, and I'm very happy to share about IoT and IoT security infrastructure, how we can protect in today's webinar. So before we get into cybersecurity, IoT security or architecture, let us understand what is IoT is all about. So NISA, that defines, from their definition, IoT is considered as a cyber physical ecosystem. You have one is cyber, which is based on internet. Another one is physical system, where you really have the physical element of it. And these ecosystems are interconnected sensors and actuators, which enable intelligent decision making. As we have seen in the video, when the alarm rings in the morning, and now your windows open, your water heater gets on. So there is something which is getting connected, am I right? There is something called physical and also the cyber. Cyber means when it rings, there is some sensor, maybe it is sent through Bluetooth or wireless to other devices. So this is just a simple example. So IoT is a cyber physical ecosystem. That's what we need to understand. So what is sensor? Because there are, as we have described, there are sensors and actuators, and then the other components in IoT. But what is sensors? It could be your body position sensor. It could be as simple as your temperature. I could measure your temperature and say, now, what is your temperature level? Or I can measure your heart rate, and ECG or EMG, whatever it is. Or I could measure the airflow, for example. It could be measuring the blood pressure and so on and so forth. These are sensors. So sensors are an element that allows to monitor the environment, and the context on which the IoT system operates. So it could be accelerometer or temperature, pressure, light, acoustics. So all of them, all the parameters can be measured. It could be also physical or chemical or biological indicator. Okay. What is actuators? When something happens, it has to trigger an action, right? When I sense my BP is low, or my sugar is low, I need to get insulin, for example. So something can inject it automatically. So there is something has to take action, right? It has to work on it. So that is called actuators. So actuator is the entity which is responsible for moving or controlling a system or mechanism. So most of the time, the actuator operates in a revised direction of a sensor, and because it takes an electrical input and turns into a physical action. So it takes signal like close, open, reduce. So all these are coming from actuators. So it takes a physical action based on that. So sensor and actuators together, it forms a structure of an IoT embedded system. This is what you can see. So you can see here there is a sensor, okay, there is an actuator, and you manage the device somewhere. But what is the main thing is about the processor internally, right? Where you have RAM, NVRAM, it's connecting to the wireless power supply, and the processing unit is something which is the core of the entire IoT system. So you have medical implants, you have smart watches, which are part of IoT, connected lights, smart thermostats. All of them are an example of sensors and connectors, actuators together, how it can form an IoT system. So what is the intelligent decision making? It has, I have sensor, I have actuator, but I need to take some kind of a decision. So if I find that continuous glucose sensor, it sends, and if it find that level is getting dropped, so there is an algorithm that makes and give the signal to the actuator so that it can open and pump in insulin at a particular rate, right? So there is something called sensor, there is something called actuator, but who is going to take a decision, right? Something has to work based on a threshold or based on the value you have set. So there is something called control and algorithm. That is a intelligent decision making. So let us look at the business side. So this, simply to put it, you have sensors, actuator, and intelligent decision making system, which forms together an IoT. Right? So what is the business side of it? So everything connected to IoT, because you know that people now, it becomes like a fancy term. Everybody want to talk about IoT. Everybody want to connect to the start using IoT, right from medical field to manufacturing, even agriculture. They have started using IoT. I have visited, I've seen farms where they use IoT to measure the milk production of a cow and how much it's producing, what is the temperature whereabout of the cow, if it is a big farmland. So we are talking about managing and maintaining and collecting data from all kind of things. So that is where IoT has become very popular. That's why we see more than 23, 2 billion things are connected, and things connecting is still growing. Right? The business side of it, yes, there is a lot of financial gain. New models and opportunities have been created because of IoT. Since we have advanced data collection and processing, either it could be done in a server or on the cloud, because these sensors and and actuators and the entire processing has to store data. Right? It could be stored on the edge level, or it could be stored on a cloud level. So then you need an advanced data collection and processing system. So just to talk about a heat map of key IoT opportunities, based on the industry and application. Why we need to understand this? If you don't understand the business opportunity and how it is used, then you will not understand the security implication and how you should make the architecture, how to create a better architecture for IoT so that it can protect. Right? So we're talking about security surveillance and supply chain management, smart product, even fleet management, right? And facility management. All of them are getting into it. So we're talking about healthcare, pharma, even oil and gas industry they have used. So all of them are something which is happening, and the red one is which is hottest. Right? There's a supply chain. So transportation and logistics, it is very hot. Right, where they are using a lot of IoT devices. Fleet management is again one thing in transportation, retail, wholesale, right? So it's very hot. So this is just to understand and give an idea about how this industry is evolving and what is the business demand for IoT. So let us get again into components of IoT, as I explained to you before. So you have something called endpoint devices. Endpoint devices are very close to the end system or the customer system or the infrastructure. So the endpoint devices could be sensors, actuators, or embedded devices. Like you are having a smart watch or wearable watch, which monitor your, for example, blood pressure, right? Which monitor your temperature. Or you have something called a smart washing machine, or you have a smart car, which is connected, right? So it's having some kind of a data collected, because sensors and actuators can do based on whatever the program we have done in the embedded device, right? Sensors can give the signal. Embedded device is something which is having intelligence to take action, for example, on the edge level, or it can send to the cloud, where it can also send back the decision. But sometimes, most of the time, it's not possible because of the delay and other things. So mostly decisions are taken locally. So it has to be connected together. So how does it connect? You need something called gateway. It's like how you are connecting your mobile phone. Mobile phone, if you want to connect, you need to have a tower, am I right? So 4G or 5G tower closest to you. So you should have a proper signal. The mobile signal strength should be high. Right? Same way, you have a gateway which is going to connect. We'll talk about what are the different type of gateways. Right? Then this gateway will take information and connect to the cloud. So cloud platform is where you do all the activities or backend services, collect data, process that, and have a lot of analytics about that. And sometimes we want to connect back to some of the monitoring centers, so you can again send back that to the central command and control center or monitoring stations, or it could be sending to someone who is remote, right? So he can monitor and take decision. So if you want to say that based on the level of, let us say, if you are doing irrigation, right? If you are seeing that the water level is low and there is a sensor, you are in a different city and you are monitoring your farmhouse, which is located in one of the village. So if you have an IoT device and if it knows that the water level is low, and you get a sensor, you can get a signal in your mobile phone, then you can simply switch on the the motor, so which could turn on the motor remotely and send water into the entire land. So this is something which could happen over the internet. So you have a cloud platform which can communicate back, and someone can take remote actions as well. So this is just to show IoT ecosystem. You should know there is an endpoint device, which are sensors, actuators, and embedded devices. That is the first thing. And then you have this one. Then you have gateway, which is the second thing. Third one is cloud platform, where you store and process that. And the fourth one is again that end device, which you'll take some kind of an action. Am I right? So you have a communications in between happening from end device, the communication happening between end device to the gateway, gateway to the cloud, and again cloud to the monitoring systems. Right? There could be different. So if you understand this, whatever I'm going to talk now or show it to you now, it will make sense. You will be able to correlate and understand this communication protocol or this sensor or this program or this data processing unit or this analytic systems. Where does it fit into the IoT ecosystem? So is it clear for all of you so far? I just want to have a quick feedback. Did you understand IoT ecosystem? All of you, please use the chat box and type before we get into the next. Yeah. Does it make sense? How does it IoT works? Yeah. That is something which is very much. So if you know how does it work, then you know that how it can be attacked. What are the security issues? How hackers can get into it, and what you need to do in order to protect. Right? So you need to know the fundamental and foundation of IoT first. So let's talk about the components, endpoint device, as we talked about. It could be a smart appliance like your washing machine. It could be a smartphone where you can have an app running on it, so it can send you data from my farmhouse to talk about what is happening in my farmland, or it can send me data about what is happening in my factory, or what is happening in my home. So I can receive in my smartphone an app. Maybe I can take decision using that app. Right? Then smart things like you have a smart car or you have a smart watch. All of them are part of smart things. Right? So one of the main thing in the entire IoT ecosystem, where there is a possibility of security attack, we'll talk about later, but you need to understand that the major thing in IoT is communication. Right? Starting from endpoint to gateway, gateway to the cloud. So everywhere there has to be something which has to connect it. Am I right? So we talk about sessions. If you understand TCP/IP layer 7 protocols, OSA level 7. So you have sessions, which is based on certain protocol like DDS or XMPP. These are the protocol working on the session level. And network level, I need to do encapsulation as well as routing. So how do I do routing? If we want to know which device is where and what is that connection point, I need to know routing. So I use something called RPL and CR. Right? Then I need to encapsulate the data and I want to send it out. So I use 6LoWPAN, right? And thread. All of the protocols are used. And data link level, which is we call it as layer 2, like your UTP cable or wireless. Same way, In IoT, in data link level, we have something called Bluetooth, which normally most of the time we use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi between sensors and gateways, all right? And from gateway to others, we use something called LoRaWAN band or Sigfox or Wave, Zigbee, and USB. All of them are part of USB level, or sorry, data link level. So these are the different components in communication. Wi-Fi to NFCs and RFIDs, BLE, band and COP and SIP, all of them are different protocols. So you need to understand it has a lot of different set of protocols other than our internet. If you talk about internet, can you name any of the protocol used in internet? Can you take, when I talk about just an internet, what immediately comes into your mind? What type of protocols comes into mind? Yeah, HTTP, right? Then FTP, right? SSL, SSH. There are so many other things, right? It comes immediately into your mind. And you talked about TCP, IP, SMTP, exactly. But when we talk about IoT, you need to think in a different level. Yes, everywhere there need to be a protocol. It required in different levels in OSA layer. So here we are talking about data link, network, and SSL layer. So these are the protocols used, and they are different levels, right? So let me give a big picture to you, right? So it's like connecting a cable and connecting to the internet, right? So we have something called IPv4, IPv6, all of them. So power line or Ethernet, printed. So this is where you connect, right? Then you have something called NFC, band, Zigbee, Wave, all of them are used to connect and store the data. Then you have Wi-Fi if you want to connect your laptop or smartphone, all right? So if you want to connect to the nearest tower, we use WiMAX or 2G or 3G or 5G or CDMA. These are the metro level, am I right? I'm going in the higher level. When I want to connect from one city to another city, am I right? I need to have band, cellular 4G and LTE. Then maybe I want to connect country to country, we're talking about satellite. So we call it as different network based on the geographical location. So PAN is called personal area network, LAN within the office or within the premises. MAN is connecting multiple offices, WAN is connecting multiple cities. So all of them use a different type of connectivity. So you need to understand all these components are required. So we look at the business process side. So you have a protocol landscape of IoT from device to business process. Am I right? So we talked about sensor. That is the first element, which is based on device and smart gateways. And you have devices and smart gateways. And then you need to have connectivity. You need to have protocols in transport layer, session layer, and someone has to aggregate in data aggregation, like we talk about FTP, HTTP, all of them. And you need to store the data somewhere. So I use something called Scribe or Flume or Kafka or Storm. All of them are protocol related to IoT. Business model, I'm going to be, is the business model is a closed model, or it's a platform, or on-premise, or it is based on cloud. And what are the business applications? Because that is what, at the end of the day, the end user will know, right? What are the different business applications? It could be data mining. You will use machine learning. Is it based on AI? And what about support and marketing and sales gain, right? What about device management? How I'm going to manage remote control, firmware upgrade, asset management? How do I do it? So these are all components are given in a symbol diagram here. So you have analytics, you have business processes, and you have device management. And down, top to bottom, you look at, it comes from applications. What is the business model? How it is stored using Hadoop, because Hadoop is for big data and data mining, data storage, right? HBase, Cassandra, or MongoDB, all of them we are talking about data storage and retrieval, because you are going to pump in huge volume of data from thousands and thousands of devices, right? Then we are talking about the protocols. So now I've explained to you different components of IoT. That means the security and privacy throughout. Let me mark it in a different color. Security and privacy of data, starting from sensor, device, connectivity, the storage of data, and accessing in the cloud or the business model. Throughout this, you need something called security and privacy. All right. So without that security and privacy, even if you build a system which is very good, very user friendly, but if I could compromise that, then it is not going to be beneficial. All right. So I can create an attack vector, then I can stop the entire IoT system, or I can all of a sudden I can go and attack and hack and stop the entire power grid. I can entire stop your home from functioning as a smart home to non-usable home. You will not be able to use it because I hack and the IoT system which is in your smart home, so I can control everything. So I can lock you in your room. Maybe I will not be able to open your door. Maybe your fridge will be shut down, your washing will be continuously running. Imagine that situation. Right? So security and privacy is very important. Right? That's why more IoT devices on the net, we talked about more security architecture, security consultation, ethical hackers, forensic investigator, if something happens. So security is going to play a major role in IoT system. So let's talk about what is there in cloud, because we talked about something called cloud, am I right? So what is going to happen in cloud? Mainly, we're going to talk about data and storage, because we are collecting from different places. And obviously, when you collect data and store, then you need to have some kind of web-based services to retrieve, to present, to analyze. The third one is, if I have devices across thousands of devices across my factory, my farmland, or maybe my hospitals across the globe, that means how do I manage my IoT devices? I need to have a central management where I can upgrade the firmware, where I can monitor the level of the device, and I can take action on the device, or even I can configure them. So that is something called device management. So cloud is mainly used for data storage, services, and device management. Am I right? So you can also have something called IoT cloud platform like AWS. They provide IoT platform where you can monitor all your devices, like protocol we talked about, am I right? MQTT or HTTP, and type whether it is connected or it's published or it's subscribed, and direction, it's an inbound connection or outbound connection. So you can see all the data here. Right? It gives you successful connection of your devices. It's just a dashboard which will tell you how your IoT devices in AWS are managed. Right? So let us get into some use case or context. Maybe you will use for electronics, even it can be used for automotive like smart cars, so automatic vehicles. We're talking about healthcare, industrial IoT, wearable, logistics, sports and fitness. So everywhere you find IoT components. These are the use cases for IoT. So what are the assets of IoT? So let us get into that. Right? What are the assets of IoT? So here is a quick summary of that. So we talked about IoT assets, all right? So let me give you a big picture of it. This is the big picture of IoT asset. So what are they? First of all, I need to have infrastructure. Or let us start from the lower level. First of all, I need to have IoT device. IoT device is where it will be closest to the end system, where you want to monitor the pressure, maybe you want to monitor the speed, humidity, you want to monitor the temperature. So all of them, it has to be measured by the IoT device. What is going to have, what IoT device should have, we know that. For sure, It has to have sensors, it need to have actuators, and it need to have some kind of a programs or softwares and a hardware. So both program and software together forms intelligent system, right? Intelligent decision-making system. So which could do on local level, on IoT level. So processor could be, hardware could be, controller, processor, all of them. Software could be firmware and some software running on it. So is it clear? The first system on our entire IoT asset is IoT device. Is it clear? Can you just type in yes? Are you able to follow so far? Just key in so I know. Yeah, great. Thank you. So the second system in IoT assets are your other IoT ecosystem, like draw it in another color. Other IoT ecosystems. All right. So what are they? The devices to interface with things, right? Devices to manage things, right? Or embedded system like smartphones or tablets. These are required to communicate with IoT device, right? It could be your PC, laptop, or your iPhone, your smartphones, whatever it is. So which is required to connect. This is the second part of the ecosystem. The third one, IoT ecosystem is the communication protocol we talked about. Right? What are the communicate? Communication could be, it requires a network where I need to have LAN, WAN, am I right? A VPN connection, and then I need to have protocol. I use Bluetooth, am I right? I need Bluetooth or Zigbee or Wi-Fi, right? Or WAN, LoRaWAN WAN. All of them is part of the protocols. So you have networks and protocols. This is the third important component of IoT assets. Then I need to have infrastructure. Right? I need to have infrastructure like what? I need to have routers, gateways, power supplies, and the most important like firewalls, which could be a firewall or WAF or cloud-based access broker, IPS, IDS, and a AAA system, authentication other system. So these are all forming an infrastructure. All right. And then you need to have something called applications, because you need to have some kind of data analytic visualization. So you need to have applications and device and network management to manage all the devices. And you need to monitor what is the device used. So this is mainly for application and services. Then you need to have information like storage, how much it is stored, data storage, and in transit and use. You want to know how much it is being used, the information and collections. And then the most important thing on all of this is decision making. All right. It is based on data mining and data processing. So collection of data using big data, and then you run something like AI-based algorithm. I'll show you some of the platforms. You understand? AI-based algorithms which creates rules and logics and process automation and to take intelligent decisions. So these are all part of IoT assets, and definitely for sure you need everything to be stored, whether it's on premises or on the cloud. Right? So it is called platform backend. Platform backend could be on a web-based services or cloud infrastructure and services. So is that clear for all of you? I think I have covered the entire IoT in a very simple diagram. Are you able to follow before we get into security? How easy now when somebody asks you about IoT, how confident you are to tell that I know at least 70% of all the components involved in IoT, at least the terminologies. Can you tell yes, no? I want to see how many of you are going to tell me, give me the feedback. Yeah. Yes. You can see William is saying yes. That's fantastic. Okay. So let us get into development and security, because I have another 20 minutes, because we have started at 9:15. I will have a privilege to take another 20-25 minutes to cover up my presentation. So let us see what are the development platforms. So I want to develop an IoT device. What are the development platforms? We have something called ThinkBox. It's a platform where you can go and run IoT, platforms, development platforms. So we talked about platforms, am I right? We talked about platforms where you can run and provide as a services. So we are talking about IoT platforms. Development, you can have ThinkBox, you can have something called Kinoma or Arduino, which is very commonly known to everyone, most of you. And then we have hardware platforms. You want to have hardware, Arduino, or you have something like Raspberry Pi, which is very commonly known for people. So these are a hardware platform. Software platform, we have something called OpenHab, Raspberry, or the Think System. This is for home automation based on what you want to use. Middleware, you have car, Open IoT, Open Remote. The operating system, IoT has got its own operating system, like React or Spark or Raspbian are the operating system like you have for our laptop like Windows or Linux. So IoT has its own operating system. So home automation, middleware, and operating system is what you need to understand. And this is for people who are developing, right? And integration platform, you have something called Canopy, IoT Toolkit, Mango, Nimpits, right? So Webners and all of them are integration platform, integrating different things. So Node-RED is something which is very common. You can go to the website and find it. Right? Now we are going to talk about IoT, but let me give a brief, overview, or I will show you some of the platform which is available. Is my desktop visible for all of you? Things.io is one of the enterprise IoT platform. Is it visible? My desktop. I'm sharing things.io. Thank you. So you can go and browse this platform, things.io. It's an IoT platform. It says what are the features. Okay. So it's meet the most simple IoT enterprise platform. So all protocols and payloads. We talked about MPP, am I right? COP, Sigfox. Can you recollect that? LoRa or LTEM, right? So he's saying that this platform is ready for that. Okay. So application enabled platform that enables fast and scalable connection of things to the internet with the multiple protocol encryption payloads. The turnkey solution of your project. So if you want to do any IoT project, you go to things.io, they give you the platform. Right? They can create you something like smart city lamps. They have dashboard under your own brand. You can create it. Right? Also, they can give you a mobile app which can connect and give you, and you can monitor the devices across the globe, wherever it is in Africa, America, Asia. You can manage them across the globe. Right? You can tag your devices. Right? It also gives you IoT security private by default. It talks about what is IoT security, how you can protect that against any attack, right? It can give you, and also it can give you encryption. All the data could be encrypted so that it can be very secure when it is, sent across the transit. I can provide TLS and other security mechanisms, right? And also it could give you cloud code for IoT data analytics. So it can integrate and give you a code so that you can create meaning out of this data. So it can do IoT data analytics. And if there is some meet some kind of a threshold, it can also create alerts and alarms. Right? And also it can do powerful integration with your MailChimp, Salesforce, Twitter, and it can integrate with third-party platforms. And also it can integrate with IoT marketplace. So it also integrate with the retailers. For example, enable, create sub-organization, so you can create a platform. So this is a simple example of an IoT platform. Does it make sense? Are you able to relate what we have seen as a platform in the internet? Like this, there are so many other platforms which I have explained or shown in the presentation. There is something called open standard, open source IoT development tools like Kinoma, which you can use and develop your own tools, right? So does it make sense now? And also we talked about Arduino. So you can go to something called Arduino.cc. So it is talk about what is Arduino. It's an open source electronic platform based on easy to use hardware and software. So we're talking about creating a IoT device. If you want to create an IoT device, you need to have Arduino as a platform. So you have Arduino board, Arduino as a software, right? So you can create a small board, it comes with the Arduino sensor kit. So you can go to this site and everything, and then integrate with cloud, and you can create home automation using the entire platform Arduino.cc. They're talking about hardware, software, cloud, and documents they have, community and blogs and so on and so forth. Okay. So what we have seen in the presentation, I'm showing it to you that you can go and browse, and there are platforms available. If you would like to develop any IoT projects, they will help you, or that platform can be used to develop your own, IoT products. Okay, even they have something like pricing. If you want to do how you want to run it, POCs, pilot, have different pricing models if you want to bring your IoT to the cloud. Okay. So far, is it clear? Is it good? Are you able to connect with what I'm talking and theory and what is available in the internet before we get into security? Yeah. So far, so good. Thank you. So I want to make things easy for you to understand, because security is definitely is important. But if you don't understand the components, how does it work? What is Arduino? What is the platform we are talking about? What is sensors? Then there is no use of talking about security. So let us now go back. I'm going to talk about the security. Is my presentation clear, visible? I'm an IoT security. Right? Are you able to see that? Okay, great. So let us get into it. Did you know the S in IoT is for security? But there is no S in IoT, right? So exactly. So let us understand what could possibly go wrong. Why do we need security? Why we are very, very much worried about IoT security? This is the question everybody has to ask. If there is a problem in my laptop, there is some securities, maybe there is a file corrupted, I need to format, I need to restore my data. But is it the same in IoT? Is it same in IoT? What do you think? Numai, do you think it is same in IoT? Okay, I lost the data, maybe something corrupted. Yeah. Based on what you have seen so far, it is not the same. Right? So what could possibly go wrong? So let us see, a Bluetooth hack leaves many smart locks IoT device vulnerable. So if I can hack a Bluetooth, because most of your home automation is based on Bluetooth, am I right? We use something protocol called BLE, right? And Bluetooth technologies. So if I can hack a Bluetooth vulnerable, then all your home lock system could be a problem, right? Okay, let's do another way. So what I can do, hack into Facebook, all right? I'm talking about your heart. It's okay, door is fine. Yeah. If I'm not able to get into my home for one day, it's fine. But what about if I can hack to the facemaker? I can literally kill you. Is it not? Do you agree with me? If I can hack to facemaker, that means I can immediately stop the facemaker. That means you are dead. The person is dead. Then what about as a hacker, if I can kill a Jeep on the highway? I can hack, it's a smart car. You're saying I have a smart car. That's great. I'm very happy to have a smart car. So everything is automated. Okay. But what if you are on board on a smart car, but you never return to your home, or you are having a smart drone, a smart vehicle, or taxis, am I right? Air taxis, which is flying with the smart IoT devices. What if somebody, a driverless car, exactly. What if somebody hacked into it? You are flying in a car, in a flying car, you will never reach down, am I right? If somebody could hack, you will go from, your life is, you are under threat. Your life is under threat. Right? So what could possibly go wrong if you start analyzing? This is really very serious. All right. People could, you cannot imagine that impact, starting from denying your access, starting from stopping your facemaker or stopping your road. All of them could be a potential danger. So now, do you understand the importance of cyber security, security for IoT? Do you feel that? Now tell me, how much important is the IoT is important or security important? Tell me now. Where do you need to focus? Are you going to focus on actuators and sensor? I'm telling that I have a very smart IoT device. Or are you going to say that security is more important? Because without security, your IoT is nothing. Your IoT device is not going to work. Rather, it is going to cause more damage. Is it not? Without IoT, I was at least happy and living a normal life. Now you put an IoT and you hack and you kill the person. you got the point? That's a catch here. So without a security infrastructure, whatever you are going to develop, IoT, this is going to be meaningless, and even it is going to be dangerous, I would say. Please share your feedback after this session in our cyber privacy forum in LinkedIn. Now, what you learned and what you felt when I'm talking about this, what could possibly go wrong? I want to see what is your feeling on that. Right? The entire world is going on IoT. They are talking about 20 billion things are connected. But if you don't have a proper security system, what could go wrong? These are the possibility of dangers. Okay, so let us get. Do you think they are going to sit and attack a symbol system? No, they are going to use something called botnets. The devices, they're going to attack you from different levels, right? You cannot imagine that. So they're going to use automated tools, botnets, to attack a DDoS attack. So why IoT security matters? Because no device in the internet is fully secure. We talked about Wi-Fi, Windows, Android, right? Zeta, 3-scale, whatever you name it. I cannot tell 100% security. So they rely on third-party components. Somewhere you have bought a hardware from China. So what if China can attack your entire power grid and stop it? Please go and search in Google the entire power grid of Maharashtra. I think it's in Mumbai. It was on stopped because somebody had a security breach. So what power system has to do with cyber security? What it has to do with the security? If somebody could turn off the chip inside a hardware, inside a IoT sensor, or inside a SCADA sensor or SCADA, that could potentially block the entire electricity. All right. So the hardware and softwares are developed by third parties, not by you. Maybe you are just connecting and providing a platform. So dependency on network and external services. Design of IoT devices. So how did you design that? Did you follow the best practices? Security architecture blueprint. Am I right? So if you're not following and devising, anybody can come and create an IoT device, and if they put on the internet, if it is vulnerable, so it is a big question mark. Am I right? Security by design, not the norm. People don't follow the design. When they do design, they bring any device, any software which is cheap. They don't worry about the security of it. They don't know about what protocol. They build the device and say it's functioning, but they don't care about the security aspect. So IoT security is again currently limited because investment on securities are limited. Functionalities, they look for functionality before security. Real physical threat with risk on health and safety. No legal framework for liability. So something happened. What is illegal? How can I sue you? Which court I can take you and say that because of IoT vulnerability, my entire factory is in loss. My power is shut down. My home is locked. How can I sue you or take you to the court? So still this legal framework is underdeveloped. So there is a cyber system, there is a physical system, but still there is a gap, right? So the main challenge is very large attack surface because you have so many things, limited device resources, right? We don't have standards and regulations. Safety and security process integration is not done completely, right? They don't consider security as part of the design. They don't consider as a top priority. Lack of expertise, unclear liabilities. So these are the challenges we have in IoT security. But I'm going to tell these challenges are opportunities for you. If you are a cybersecurity engineer, if you are an IoT designer, this is an opportunity because you can, jump in and say, hey, you don't have a proper design. You're not following the standard architecture. So this is how you can do. I am a cybersecurity architect, design reviewer. I can give you a design, how to do. I am a programmer, I can do how to make sure this code is following the security standard. I am integrated, I can tell you how it should be integrated based on the best practices. Right? So this is what you have an opportunity. So why most of the time this happen? Because they want to just market. Because everybody getting into IoT, I want to get into, they want to market. They want, most of the time it's done by low startup cost, right? You see, so many people are now developing IoT devices, and if you go, there will be only 4 people, 5 people. They don't even have an infrastructure, or they don't have proper system to invest on security. They want to just scale, manage billions of connected things. They want to reuse it. They want to reduce the operation overhead. So these are things which we have as a challenge. Smart cities, public safety, smart home, automotive, health. Wherever you see IoT, but we need to make sure that how this can be, how we can create an opportunity to protect that. Okay. So let us have a quick summary on what is the threat landscape. We are now talking about, I told you I will take another 15 minutes because we started. right? We were starting at almost 10, 15 or 20, so I will take another 15 minutes. Hopefully this will be okay. Is it okay? I just want to have a feedback from all of you. Is it okay to extend for another 15 minutes? Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, great. So now, what is the threat landscape? This is where security come into picture. Right? This is where security comes in. What is that? The threats could be, it could be physical attack. Am I right? I can go and damage the device modification, or I can sabotage the device so it may not work. The device could be also malfunction. What if the device is malfunctioning? For example, instead of a wall, saying that open, it is closed. It could create a problem. What could be a problem with the software vulnerability within the device? Right? What could be third-party failure? Right? There is a software bug or cloud service provider in SaaS and PaaS. There is some problems. Right? So what could result at the end? It could result outages. Am I right? It could failure to connect device, failure of system, network outages. All of them also could be a potential problem for us. Is it not? Right? Because if you don't have a network, how can I control the device? Right? All of a sudden, my ISP is having a problem. So I want to take an action. So I cannot do it because my network is not, I don't have a connectivity. Disasters, am I right? Natural disasters like floods, health, heavy winds, environment disasters like fire, dust, all of them could also create a problem. This is the threat landscape. And eavesdropping, am I right? Somebody is monitoring or watching you. Like we call it as man in the middle attack. IoT hijacking, protocol hijacking, interception of information, am I right? Information gathering, session hijacking, replay attack. So these are all, how they can take the information. And the most dangerous part of it is called nefarious activities or abuse. So I can do something called DDoS attack. I can bring down the entire device so that it can malfunction. I can inject a malware. Am I right? I can create a rootkit exploits. Am I right? I can create a rootkit and boot it, install it. So I can do something like a memory buffer overflow attack. I can harm the entire device from malfunction. Or how to counterfeit by malicious device. So instead of doing the original device, I can manipulate the hardware, manipulate the software, and create a rogue certificate and targeted attack. Advanced persistent threat attacks. Modification of information. Right? I can modify the information. Like there is a simple attack. If you go and search in Google or YouTube, see IoT wireless car attack. Somebody will tell how to open your car. Most of you have a remote, right, sensor in your car, right? So if I can hack your Bluetooth or the protocol, I can sniff your sensor and I can create a similar sensor to open the car remotely. So this is something called, modification of information or attack on the privacy. Right? So you can do that. So these are the threat landscape you have for IoT device. Okay. Can anyone take a picture out of it and share it? Probably even, is my sound is clear? Somebody is saying no sound. Yeah. Very good. Okay. So this is the threat landscape. So which way would you attack IoT? Let us see some of the attack scenarios. So I can attack the actuators, like draining the batteries of pacemaker. Communication. I can intercept the Bluetooth, LE communication, BLE, Bluetooth, BLE. I can intercept and find what data you are transmitting. Then I can do on decision making, like modification messages to modify smart card behavior. Then I can also do on the information privacy. Smart toys exploited to eavesdrop on children. All right. So many ways to attack an IoT. So attack scenario, let us see. So I gather information, I identify the target and gather very specific information, then exploit the vulnerability, compromise the network, and install some kind of malware or spyware, then updating system with the modified firmware. I can do that, and so that your device is compromised. All right. So then I can remotely access the device and taking control of the device. This is a normal, hacking. We saw anatomy of hacking, right? Anatomy of hacking. So same thing we are using here for IoT attack. So please understand, it's not going to happen immediately. It is going to do step by step. So once they can scan the port of your device, right? Access the IoT device. Once they scan, right? They can code and inject the command, obtain administrative privilege, connect the connection of device from command and control device, run the script on the device, spread the attack on other vulnerable device. Attacker controls botnet from command and control. This is how they do botnet and command injection. So a simple example, go and search something called OSNIT landscape, open source intelligence. Okay. So they tell you what are the different, layers. For example, what are the social media platform you have, right? What you have beneath the social media platform. What is the maritime movements, right? So they talk about the entire ecosystem. OSINT, open source intelligent framework. So you need to understand that. So Shodan is the site where you can go and find out about IoT, hacking. So it's a website. You can go and search in the internet. Let me show you quickly because we want to just relate to what we are learning. Shodan. Let me share that. Can you see that? You can all go to the site sodan.io. So you can search some device to monitor, and see whether it is having any. Explore it. All right. So you can find, these are the webcams which I can find it in the internet. All right. Let us say what are the webcams I can find. So it's saying that these are the webcam which is available. Sometimes you can even go and access the website, access the webcam. Let us see, I'm accessing this website. Website has all the ports open, and these are the vulnerabilities. So Shodan is the site. If you want to do any IoT vulnerability analysis, you can use that, right? So you can use that. You can also create an account and monitor that. Is it clear? I'm just giving you one example. Because you need to know how to also protect the data, right? So Shodan, Shodan is the site you can go and search. So what we need to understand, I'll have another few minutes. What we are exposing on the net, online scanner, the use of Shodan, and many gray areas. So it says that indicator of potential attacks are more sophisticated. There are other tools I don't want to get into due to lack of time. So what we need to do, need to know, understand the security architecture. These are the framework. Please go and search in Google. I will also share this presentation in our group. So you'll understand that there has to be security architecture. All right. You need to have a high level architecture like applications, encryptions, device, how you want to protect them, communication, what I have to do, cloud, how you need to do, use cases, how you need to do that with secure communication. So security has to be prime reference for your entire architecture. Okay, so I'll just quickly tell some of the case studies on healthcare where they are monitoring the heart level, blood pressure, right? So they are saying high blood pressure Yellow means pre-high. Ideal is green. This is low, right? 4 levels. So they have a display which is monitoring, and green, and there will be a light lamp which will be LED will be lit based on the level, right? Based on red, green, and blue, all of them, based on the sensor. So you have a RGB sensor, and then it is going to trigger. This is one of the case studies, right? So it will be interconnected. The sensor and the actuators, all of them will be interconnected. So there will be decision making where it will be based on the reading. We want to increase or decrease the value to get the optimal stage. Right? So there will be an actuator which will take action. Right? So this is something which is happening. But if somebody is tampering the sensor, then it could potentially bring some kind of issues. Right? Real life practice like pacemakers. I told you about that. Unauthorized access, somebody wants access. The hacker news. Hackers can give you fatal overdoses. Right? So these are some of the examples. Thanks for connecting with me, and thanks for attending this. I hope you all enjoy the IoT infrastructure, security infrastructure. Please and let us connect together to share knowledge and create business opportunities and grow as one big cybersecurity community. Please remember, we have specialists from SOC, we have specialists in IoT, we have specialists in ransomware. So if you have any business requirement or if you want to learn something, please connect with Digital Privacy Forum. So we'll give you all the kind guidance and support. Thank you for watching, and this is the number you can reach, 91656385181109, and you can reach us in Facebook, Digital Privacy Forum, LinkedIn, Digital Privacy Forum, and you can visit our Digital Privacy Forum website. And please become a member so that you will have a lot of benefit. Okay. With that, I would like to thank all of you for attending.